Hey, what's up, everybody? This video is going to be about XRP. I'm going to talk about why I think XRP could be a life-changing chart. There's good, there's bad, there's a lot of in between. But I think the position that Ripple is in, what Brad Garlinghouse has been talking about, and the chart in general, but also the political landscape of basically how this whole financial system is going to play out. I made a video, I just uploaded it, right? So basically, my main thing was going to be about just getting a crypto update done, and basically that's it. Yesterday my internet went out, so I wasn't able to get that video out, so I just made a new one. So that video was combined with the political talk, right? Talking about central banks, talking about the war over the new financial system, talking about CBDC, talking about, everything from the bank war of 1812 with Andrew Jackson, right? Remember that? He defeated the second central bank in the United States. Now we're on our third central bank, right? The Federal Reserve. It's the banks keep weaseling their way back in, trying to control our monetary system. So people think it's the president and Congress, and yeah, they do play a major role, but it's mostly the people who call the shots are the banks. And with that is these large corporations, right? The military, industrial, you know what? And, so at the end of the day, it's all about freedom and it's all about control, right? They want to control your money. They want to control the way you think. They want to control everything. And they can do this by, just take electric cars, for example, right? That's why I don't really like electric cars, because they can easily, like, let's say you're driving to the store, right? They can easily just turn your car off remotely. That is not good. Let's say you're running from somebody who's trying to, attack you, and then they turn your car off. Like, they could hack into the electrical computer of that car and turn it off. Like, I was, especially Tesla, right? And I like Elon, I like it, but I think he's good. But at the end of the day, I don't really know. But when the Tesla Cybertruck came out, if you bought the truck and then sold it within, a week or 2 weeks or even a month, they wouldn't allow you to sell it. Even though it's your car, you own it, they wouldn't allow you. What they would do is they would turn your car off. I mean, that is total tyrannical. That is not right. And I know why they did it. They didn't want people to do it to make profit, to rip people off, Like, if I buy a Cybertruck for 60 grand and everybody else is waiting a year or 2 years, I can turn around and sell it for double the price and people will pay for it, right? I think that was their motivation. But at the end of the day, freedom is freedom, and freedom is what you own, right? So I believe if you own it, you have the right to do whatever you want with it. And don't worry, we're going to get into the XRP. I'm just, setting a little bit of a stage here. We as a nation, we as a people, even if you're not in the United States, all over the world, we're all brothers and sisters fighting the same fight. But, there's so many people who fight each other. They don't realize that those same people are fighting for the same thing everybody else is fighting for. It's just painted in a different light, where the political landscape, the corruption, the central banks, they twist things so that we fight each other rather than fighting the people who put us in that position in the first place, right? Talking about inflation, talking about, the economy, talking about hardship, and your freedom being stripped away, your taxes increasing, grocery bills increasing, right? It's all ridiculous, and it doesn't have to be that way. And I think, the last 8 years were all planned out by specific people. I could be wrong, but I think that was the case. And you can say, well, why would they do that? Well, it's in order to wake people up, right? Like, if I were to tell you this was going to happen, this was going to happen, you wouldn't believe me. But if I just allowed it to happen, and we've seen, I mean, just think back in the last 6 to 8 years. Think about what's happened over the last 8 years. I mean, it's been a lot of crazy stuff, right? Everything from C-19 to, these different wars and the economy and just many, many other things. And to me, that type of stuff is happening because you have two sides colliding against each other. One side wants to continue to be in control. The other side, right, wants to take back freedom and control, right, and basically have a decentralized type of society, right? Obviously, you still need governments and banks and things like that. But what they want to do is take it a step too far. I go back to the electric car thing, right? I mean, if they have the ability to turn your car off, right, because you bought too many gallons of milk that week, or you didn't pay your credit card bill last week, so now they're going to turn your car off, or they can turn your gas off, your electricity off, right? They can do that anyway, but it's going to go into money, right? So like, if let's say you work a job and you make $15-20 an hour, and I live in California, so $15-20 an hour is actually the same as if I were to be working in Arkansas for like $13 an hour. I don't know. It's different because things cost more here than they do there. But essentially, you're working a job, and let's say, the government knows how much your apartment bill is. The government knows how many miles you travel to work. The government knows, basically what you spend. So what they're looking at it, right? They understand your credit score. They understand what you can afford and what you can't afford. So basically, they want to control you. So let's say it's your anniversary and you want to take your wife to Europe. Well, they can just say, no, you can't do that because you can't afford that. They can turn your money off, right? They can say, no, you're not going to be able to do that. So basically, it's going to get to that point, and the banks can decide what you can spend your money on and what you can't, and that is the whole point of why crypto exists, in my opinion. Right? It's an escape from their upcoming system, right? The central bank digital currency. Now, I believe there will be a central bank digital currency. Now, a CBDC can be used for good or it can be used for evil, right? XRP, a lot of people think XRP is evil, right? Because they work with the banks and they work with, CBDCs and things like that. But for me, I believe Ripple is a private company that's outside the traditional finance system that is going to be needed for the new system that we're embarking into, right? Because there's two sides. There's one side, which is the deep state, central banking, fiat currency, debt-based system that wants to continue with tyrannical control through the CBDC, right? Turning your money on, turning it off with basically absolute control. The other side says, no, we want freedom. We want freedom of choice, right? It's like Trump, right? He accepts crypto. He accepts Dogecoin. He accepts XRP. He accepts SHIB. He accepts Bitcoin, right? It's freedom. I can decide what I want, right? So, and then also he's pro-crypto, and all the Republicans are pro-crypto. And people say the Democrats saved the day. No, they did not. They only voted yes to protect themselves, right? Because there's an election coming up. If this bill were to happen last year, they would have totally said no, right? Remember, most of Congress, both Republican and Democrat, are bought and paid for by special interest and lobbyists. And those special interest groups, those lobbyist groups, are owned and controlled and manipulated by the corporations. And those corporations are owned and manipulated by what? The central banks. Because how does corporations thrive? Through the banking system, through the dollar, through the fiat system, through the debt system, right? So they love it. They want that system to continue rising. But they understand that that system is coming to an end. They realize that whole system is coming to an end. So what do they need to do? They need to make an excuse as to why that system is coming to an end. So what did we see? We saw C-19, right? We saw the Russia thing. We saw the Ukraine thing. We saw, why did they do that? Well, because when Trump was in office, they couldn't get us into World War III. They couldn't do it, right? So, it didn't happen. So they created this thing that I believe was the reason to, number one, get Trump out of the way, and number two, to basically destroy the economy and increase inflation so that when the system goes down, they have an excuse as to why it happened. So that we're not blaming them, the true enemy, we're blaming the event that took place, that they created in the first place. You see what I mean? So at the end of the day, they're the reasons why we're in this position, right? So we have two systems, right? They're going to push that control system, but for me, I think the right side is blockchain technology, gold and silver, and cryptocurrencies. And financial companies like Ripple can offer, right, a new technology, a new payment system for the existing central banking system, right? To improve it, right? So, yes, they do work with CBDCs and things like that. But again, CBDCs could be used for good or for evil. Now, I think if Trump gets into office, I think there's going to be a come down on CBDC. I don't even know if they'll be able to allow it to exist. What we want is not what we have, right? You take out a $20 bill. It says Federal Reserve Debt Note. It's not a U.S. dollar. There is no such thing as a U.S. dollar. A U.S. dollar does not exist. It is not a U.S. dollar. It is a Federal Reserve Debt Note. That's what it is. So what I think is happening is this whole thing between Trump and the corona and all of these things that have been going on, right? They're out to get him. It's all because it's the war over the financial system. That's what it's all about, right? And what's in the centerpiece of that? Crypto. So think about everything that's ever happened in the last 8 years, all the political stuff you see on CNN and Fox News and all the fakeness, right? All of that is all wrapped around who gets to control the financial system, because it's all about money all of the time. As soon as you realize it's not about politics, it's not about things that we think it is, it's about money. It's about control, right? Obviously, that's always what it's been about. So I think, this whole thing going into the next election, I think it's all going to come down, I think Trump will win. I think they're going to try to cheat. But at the end of the day, the target is going to be the corruption and also the Federal Reserve, right? The Federal Reserve needs to be audited. It needs to be reconstructed, and it needs to benefit we the people. So instead of a Federal Reserve debt note, I think we're going to have a new currency. And I think, you got to wipe out all the debt. Right? I mean, come on, we're $30 trillion in debt. And then eventually it's going to be $100 trillion, and you're just going to print money to oblivion, and people are going to be all homeless. The system is unsustainable. The system doesn't work because it was never designed to work. It was designed to fail. It was designed to steal from you, right? The biggest lie on planet Earth is our financial system. The biggest lie in the world, because that whole system is designed to steal from you. You might be good. You might be making $80,000 a year, $100,000 a year. You might be doing well and feeling comfortable. But I assure you, if we lived in an actual fair, proper system, you would be 10 times more wealthy than you are now. Right? I don't even think people actually know what real wealth is. They might see it on TV, right? But it's not even comparing to what life could be like. But remember, you have the 1% of the 1% of the 1% designing a central banking system that is designed to steal from you, right? That's basically what it is. It's basically stealing away your purchasing power over time. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen this chart before, right? This is not by accident. This is by design. Back in 1913, they developed the Federal Reserve in order for this to happen, right? So by now, right, all the money is going to the 1% of the 1%. I think that's why you hear people say we are in the greatest transfer of wealth of human history. Why do they say that? Why would they say that? Why? Because we literally are. Why? Because, again, we're going to see a crossroads. That's why this election is the most important election, I think, in the world, right? Because, the Democrats only voted yes just to save face, right, for the upcoming election. They really don't want it. And even some of the Republicans don't want it either, right? So, I'm not Republican or Democrat. I'm pro-crypto. I'm pro-freedom. So whoever is on that side, that's who I'm going to align myself with. I might not like his characteristics, or I might not like his style, or whatever. I don't care. I care about actually work and things that are going to take action, right? And what I believe is going to happen is the Federal Reserve is going to be, like I said, reconstructed. So maybe there's some type of black swan event that occurs, right? Another event that pushes us into that situation where we have to decide on a new system. But look, the crypto system has been running since 2009, right? 2008. It's been running parallel against the traditional financial system. So if this system collapses, right, we have crypto, we have blockchain, we have gold, we have silver, right? So they're not going to, that's why they don't want crypto. Every dollar that's outside of the banking system, or every dollar that's every dollar that's inside crypto is a dollar that's outside of the banking system. Every dollar that's outside of the banking system is less power for the banks, right? So it's going to come to a big situation where the people are going to have to decide. So I don't know how that's going to go down, but what I do know is the answer. And the answer is gold, silver, and crypto. I mean, that's just basically the story there. So that's why I think Trump is pro-crypto, and I know he's anti-Fed, right? He's always been a big proponent against the Fed and against the central banks. He had Andrew Jackson hanging up in the White House. What was Andrew Jackson known for? He was known for the banks. That's what his whole thing was for the central banks. Why would Trump hang up a Democrat president, the first Democrat president, right in the Oval Office, right next to his desk? He could have picked any other president. He picked Jackson. Why? Because that is a signal against the Fed, against the banks, right? Remember, we had the first central bank. People rose up, took it down. We had a second central bank, Andrew Jackson. We led the charge, right, with the Bank War of 1812. Right, we destroyed them. Then the third central bank came, the Federal Reserve. Right after 1913, 1912, the Titanic sank. 1913, we have the Fed. And now fast forward today, they've taken us off the gold standard. They've killed our purchasing power, and they basically was a monarchy over all of the currencies. Right, forcing other currencies to use the dollar. And I believe in the status of the dollar, right, should be the world reserve currency. But at the end of the day, that's changing drastically, because you can see Russia, China buying treasuries, are dumping U.S. treasuries. They're buying record amounts of gold. You have the BRICS nations, right, going against the dollar. So eventually the dollar is screwed. And I believe Trump knows that, and I believe that's what he wants. In order to change the system, you have to kill the actual thing that's in the way, which is what? It's actually the U.S. dollar, right? The U.S. dollar is not, again, it's not a U.S. dollar. It's a Federal Reserve. No. So once that system is destroyed, I believe a new currency is going to come out. And instead of a U.S. instead of a Federal Reserve debt note, it's going to be an actual real U.S. dollar backed by gold on the blockchain, right? And that's why I'm bullish on Ripple and XRP, because Ripple is in a position to help facilitate a lot of the liquidity, a lot of the volume, a lot of the transactions, a lot of the everything, right, through their technology, right? Ripple is in a position like no other blockchain company on planet Earth. Okay, so you got to realize that. So that's why I think it's in a very powerful situation. Now, they do help facilitate CBDC, and I'm not saying all CBDC is bad. We could have a digital dollar, right? A US digital dollar in the form of, right? Like, I don't want a central bank digital currency. I want a United States digital currency that the banks can help, financial service. The bank's job is financial services. That's their job. Their job is not to dictate whether they can turn your money on or off. Their job is not to dictate, inflation and things like that. It should be decentralized. That's why Bitcoin is one of the biggest assets in the world, a multi-trillion-dollar asset, because people realize, the system we're in now is fake and they need to get out of the dollar. Now, I believe holding cash is a good thing, right? If we're going in a situation where you need to protect yourself, you're going to need food and water. You're going to need, go to mypatriotsupply.com. They got plenty of food, right, that lasts 20 years, okay? And just it's all vacuum packed and dried food, right? So, because remember what happened in C19, the toilet paper stuff, right? Imagine that happened to the grocery stores because of another type of event. But if you had food, right, food storage, right, buy 3 to 6 months worth of food. It's less than $400, I think. It's not that expensive. I mean, come on, think about it. If you spent $400 at the grocery store, you'd barely get anything. So I think it's a good insurance policy. I mean, you got insurance on your car. Why not have insurance on your food? I'm doing this video to protect or to inform, right? I could be wrong, but I'm doing this video, because I care about people, and I want to teach people to read charts. I want to teach people how to be, live a better life and financially. And I think that answer comes with crypto. So, once this happens, if this happens, I believe it will, the U.S. is going to decide, right, who's going to take power over the new financial system. You know who it should be? Nobody. It should be decentralized, right? So my best guess is that there's going to be a digital currency, but it's going to be a USA currency controlled by the Treasury Department, right? The U.S., so not the Fed, right? Maybe the Fed can handle other parts of it, but I think it should really be handled through the Treasury Department, because that's actually American. That's actually, right? The Federal Reserve is not American. They have no allegiance to any country. They're basically an entity that controls all of our financial systems. So the Fed has shareholders. Those private shareholders own the Fed. And those are the real people who are the enemies, right? The people who want to keep us down, the 1% of the 1%. So, and then they're going to add crypto to it, like Bitcoin can play a big role, right? Filecoin, right, for filing. I think that'll be a big winner, right? Theta, 100% a big winner, right? XRP, a big winner. And maybe not now, but when this happens, it's going to drastically push us, because we're still hanging on to the traditional financial system. We're still hanging on to, the old ways, the credit cards and I think that'll still be there, but we really need regulation through crypto. That's why this bill passed through the House was important. It needs to pass the Senate, and then the White House needs to sign it. So even if Joe Biden doesn't do it, Trump will do it, I can assure you. So at the end of the day, we're being in a position like no other. So you have the opportunity, right, to be incredibly successful. Maybe you already are. So I'll go back to the crypto chart, XRP here, and we're going to get into the price. Just Just hang on tight, and I'm going to show you some things here. So, but my main point here is to say that we're in a position like nobody else, right? I mean, most of the market, and I'm talking all of crypto, but a lot of XRP. Remember, XRP did not break its all-time high. It's still way down here. Most coins broke their all-time high, and they're sitting way up here. So there's a lot of room to be made up, okay? But then also, as we transition from the old central banking economy to a new digital economy, a new blockchain economy. I mean, look at the price of gold as well. Silver is breaking out. Commodities, real hard assets, right? Dollars are fake. It's paper. It's nothing, right? They print it out of thin air. XRP, it's capped off at 100 billion. There'll never be any more, and they'll probably eventually burn it. And they're going to burn it as well. Every time I make a transaction, XRP gets burned, right? So it's deflationary. Bitcoin is deflationary, right? There's a lot of coins that aren't. There's a lot of coins that have inflation. So you got to understand all that. Getting outside of the central banking system, outside of the dollar, and transitioning, right? Not financial advice, but transitioning my wealth, right? What little wealth I have at the moment, into a real foundation that I can live on, and I'm sure you're somewhat of a similar boat. I'm imagining you guys have a job, and you take some of your paycheck and you buy crypto, and over time you build up a big portfolio. And then once that moment happens of a big transition and an actual utility, because we're in a speculative market. Once utility drives this market, all those things you bought on Coinbase and all those things you bought on all these different exchanges, they're all going to pay off if you just hodl, right? So maybe we might have another bear market before that time, but I'm talking long term. I'm talking at least 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years, up to 10 years, right? And even beyond that. So, when this next president that comes in, I think a lot of things are going to change. I think a lot of criminals are going to meet their, I'd say maker, but I say a lot of these corrupt politicians, right? I mean, look at Epstein and all that stuff, right? All of that type of stuff that I won't talk about, a lot of it, there's more human traffickers that are being caught than ever before. So I believe the good guys are taking control. I mean, there's still a lot of bad stuff out there, plenty. But eventually, the more people wake up, the more people realize the truth, the more people understand crypto, the more people understand the central banks and the evils of their system. I'm going to put a documentary in the comment section. I want you to watch it. It will change your life, I promise you. It's long. It's a long movie, so grab some popcorn, right? Make sure you're not at work. Make sure you're, at home, relaxed, and watch it. You might fall asleep, but it's okay. Just rewind it again. It's long, but it's really good. It's called Money Masters, right? Or Masters of Money, or I can't remember, Money Masters. And it's a brilliant old school documentary that goes over the history of the central banks. And when you watch it, you realize, oh my God, wow, now it all makes sense. Everything that's happened over the last 10 years, even back in 2008, the 2008 financial crisis, it all makes sense now. Because now you're starting to put the puzzle pieces together. Then you start to understand crypto, and it basically just like, even though you guys already understand it, I'm sure you already understand, but when you watch the documentary, it really blows you away. I promise you, it will. So please check it out when you have time. I will post it in the comment section and in the description box. So, it's all going to come to a head here, right? And that's why I think Ripple is in a perfect position to facilitate a lot of what's coming, because everything right now is in the traditional banking system. But again, when that system gets audited, when people start to not trust it anymore, if you have a stock market collapse, if you have inflation continuing to rise, the Federal Reserve is going to have to meet, the debt is going to come due. And when that day arrives, what do you think crypto is going to be? It's going to go crazy, right? People are going to be rushing out of the banking system. I think this is going to be the fall, just like the Roman Empire, right? The Roman Empire, the currency, all fiat currencies eventually fail at some point. The reason why the US dollar has lasted so long is because we had the best military to protect it, right? But the military is protecting the very thing that is destroying us in the first place, because it's not a US dollar, it's a Federal Reserve. It's a debt instrument that is basically no good. It causes more problems than answers, right? People out there struggling in the streets, working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, just to get little cash to make and survive. It doesn't have to be that way. We need sound money. We need money that actually has power. And I believe crypto will be a part of that. And I believe there's going to be a new US dollar. Maybe I'm wrong, but that US dollar, I believe, will be on the blockchain. It will be attached to gold, and it will be a actual system. Basically, it will hold the banks accountable, because what they do is they lend money out, right? If you put $10 in the bank, they'll lend out $100 or $1,000, and they'll charge interest on all of that, and they're basically printing money themselves through the interest, right? If all the money in existence is what they created, then how do we have money to pay back the interest? You don't. That's why interest is a scam, right? When it comes to that type of situation, because even if the Fed raised the interest rates 100%, how are you ever going to pay it back? There's no money in existence that could possibly pay the interest. So that's why it's all a scam. And watch the documentary, you'll understand. So I feel inspired to tell you this, not because I feel inspired to tell you this because I actually want people to make the right decisions, to be in a position of strength, and not to be caught off guard, right? Even if we had a big black swan event that caused crypto to dump, right? People would say, the world is ending, I'm getting out, but that would be probably the opportunity of a lifetime. Not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying, if the worst thing happened to crypto, because remember, the banks are still very powerful. They can go on the exchanges and destroy crypto, right? And that's why I'm urging against the cyber attack, right? Because they can attack crypto, the exchanges. So they can manipulate the price and crush it, right? Because if it gets too big and out of their control, right now it's not really a threat, because the Fed is, it's still hanging on. It's still, it's chilling, right? It's not in a position where it needs to act fast. But once the Fed starts getting cornered and more cornered, and people start talking, and it's going to happen, I believe, then they're going to start getting desperate. And when they do desperate things, right, I'm hoping we get a big bull run before that, right? Because I'm going to get into the charts, because we have, right, a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout. We have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. We're waiting for the breakout, and I believe that breakout is going to happen. Not financial advice. I could be wrong, right? This could totally be a WXY, and then we can go. So it really depends on what Bitcoin's going to do, but statistically, probability speaking, Bitcoin is in a position like no other. So we'll see about that. So that's kind of where we're at here. So now, without further ado, let's jump into the price. And again, I think Ripple is in a prime position. If the bad guys win, Ripple is still in a good position, right? If the good guys win, Ripple is in even a better position. So, they've been a big proponent of pro crypto, and they're fighting the good fight. And I believe there's a lot of value in what they're trying to do as far as XRP. I mean, look at the stable coin they're coming out with, right? They already have a name, RLUSD. I didn't really like it a lot. I wish it was USDX. That sounds way cooler. I think the USD should be first. But anyway, so yeah, let's jump into the charts. I mean, right now we're still under the bull market support band, right? Let's see, is there any news real quick? Nothing. So we're still under the bull market support band. There's a couple things that could occur. Well, first, let's talk about the big picture here. The big picture is obviously where we are now. Is the same spot here, right? So we're in that incredible reaccumulation spot, right? Coming from this retracement that we had. So that's the same exact thing that happened before. So we had the bull market, we had the bear market, we had the bull market, we had the bear market. Then we have the retracement. Then we have the retracement. Then we have reaccumulation. We have reaccumulation. Now we're going sideways. We're in a position. We're in the blast off position. We're basically like in the prone position of attack. So, that's why I'm like, hey, this could get real quick. All it takes is one candle and you can be at all-time highs. We know how it likes to move. Look how it likes to move. It moves very impulsively, I mean, you can see all of these spots here. When's the last time we had something like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this? It's been a long time. So we're overdue for something like that, especially since we have not broken the all-time high. Remember, XRP has the biggest base in crypto history, aside from a few others like Litecoin and things like that. But it's not really a base. It's more of an oscillation. So you can see this base here. Look how big it was, which led to a monster breakout. So that's important to understand. Now look how big this base is. This is even bigger. This is a phenomenal size base. Now remember, let me go to Bitcoin here. Now Bitcoin, right? It broke out of its base. So here's the base, which really isn't a base at all, but it broke out of it. XRP continued to go sideways. It went sideways. It's still going sideways. So XRP's base is this big. So it's been chilling. So Bitcoin is way up here, approaching the other all-time high, while XRP hasn't even broke its 2017 all-time high or 2018. So that is a big deal, right? As far as percentage potential, as far as risk, as far as everything, especially because XRP has more ammunition than any other coin on planet Earth. I'm telling you that for a fact. What do we have? Well, we just had the crypto bill. That's good for all crypto. We just had the Ethereum ETF. That's good for all crypto, right? But what next? Well, we have the lawsuit. We have the lawsuit coming down the pike. So actually, what happened was, now remember, Bitcoin is way above the all-time high. Now I go back to XRP, right? And here's the all-time high. We're still way down there, right? So, the lawsuit actually allowed for the base to occur. Let me just put the chart like this. Look at that. Look how much open space we have up here, right? We have a lot of open space up there, right? If the lawsuit never occurred, XRP could have went on a bull run, right? Maybe up to that $10 mark, and then it pulled back into a bear market, and now it's starting to retrace, right? But then if that happened, it wouldn't have created the base, and you wouldn't have been able to buy cheap. So the lawsuit came out, and what happened was the price only went into a retracement. Then it came all the way back down, and now it's been going sideways. So that lawsuit was a blessing in disguise. So now fast forward today, right? At the time it sucked. It's like, yeah, man, I wish I never got it. It sucked. I would have been so much more rich in like Chainlink or Theta, even though I made money on it, right? But a lot of it was in XRP. If I can go back in time, I probably would have never bought XRP until today. But we didn't know how it was going to play out, right? You didn't know, especially because the lawsuit changes things. But I'm glad it went this way, because it allowed more accumulation. It allowed the biggest base, right? Think of this box as a launch pad, and it's consolidating. It's gathering up steam. It's gathering up momentum. It's like a spring that it's coiling and coiling, and it's about to unleash all of that artificial suppression. That's the key word for today, artificial suppression. If there's any coin that has been artificially suppressed, it's XRP, right? And you can say, well, yeah, Ripple, because they sell XRP. Yeah, they had to spend $200 million on a lawsuit. So, I don't feel bad that they had to sell a little bit of XRP to make up some of those losses, right? I mean, we need Ripple, the company, to survive this, and I think they're going to come out stronger than ever before. So, and inside of this base, we're developing another base here, another large base inside of the big base, right? The bigger the base, the higher in space as it goes. So when you look at most coins, they hit their 4.236 Fibonacci extension. So if I put that on XRP, obviously that's between, $10 and $13. Now, is it going to hit it? I don't know. If everybody's expecting $10, they might all sell it. I don't know how that's going to work. I think it'll take some time, but obviously my first target would be about that $5 area, or actually, I would say $4.30 would be my first target to see how the price is reacting above the all-time high. So that's $1 above the all-time high. And then that really $5 to $6 area. And then from there, $7 to $8. And then from there, $10 to $13. So that'll be another video for another time, but those targets are still very much intact and still alive today. Now, a lot of people come up similar targets and they haven't been hit. That doesn't mean it's wrong. That just means it hasn't happened yet. Now, a lot of things people misunderstand is, the difference between making a call but also understanding how long it can take, right? If I have a XRP target of $10, that target is going to stay there until it hits it. Now you can say, well, eventually you're going to be right, but that's the whole point, is to eventually be right? I mean, that's what you want to be. You eventually want to be right. Now, just because you have a $10 target doesn't mean it gets there today or tomorrow, but over time, it'll eventually get there, right? So that's what I believe is going to be the case. And I think it could happen a lot sooner than we think. So, while the rest of the market was busy in a bull run, XRP was busy working out at the gym, getting strong, right? While everybody else was out partying up here, having a good time, XRP was at home, reading books, or at the gym, getting smart, getting ready for the big fight, right? So, you can see the sort of the levels here, right? I mean, you can see the ultimate trend. Let me zoom out a little bit more of what's happening here. I mean, just at a glance, I mean, you can see it. We're trending sideways, you break out. You're trending sideways, you break out. You're trending sideways, that's how it likes to move, right? You're stepping up, you're stepping up, you're stepping up. So, when you look at Dogecoin had 1, 2, 3, 4, and the big 5 waves, right? So XRP only has 3. Where's number 5? We still haven't gotten it yet. So that's why I'm very bullish on XRP. Now, let's talk about Brad Garlinghouse, because he's been on an interesting little spat recently here. Let's go to his Twitter. By the way, breaking news, Watcher.guru says Standard Chartered Bank says, of course, they have to have Solana in there. It's Solana, right? Solana and XRP ETF could launch in 2025. I mean, I think XRP could launch this year. I mean, why would Solana launch first? XRP should launch first, because XRP's been around the block way longer than Solana. XRP has dealt with more crap way more than Solana. XRP is the only coin with regulatory clarity aside from Bitcoin, right? So, why would Solana be approved for an ETF? It doesn't make sense, right? Solana didn't have to fight any legal battles. That's why we want a level playing field. That's what I'm talking about with artificial suppression, right? So once XRP is released, right, from that suppression, it's going to be basically like Niagara Falls. It's going to be just gushing out, right? Except not down. It's going to be going up, in my opinion. XRP ETF will bring in tons of liquidity for XRP, especially since it's so undervalued, especially since it never broke the all-time high. So look at this. Brad Garlinghouse is 589. Look at that. Is that his signal? Wow, I didn't even realize that. Look at that. Because he was at 590, and then he actually unfollowed somebody. That's interesting. Very interesting. 589. Look at that. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Wow. I didn't even realize that. And then the whole 589 thing is interesting in itself as well. So, cool. That's cool. I think that could be... Wow, that just adds to what I'm about to say. So look at this. Let's go around. Well, first of all, I'm going to get to that one in a second. You got to listen to this. So, the first tweet says, well, this certainly... He's been tweeting a lot more, and he's very excited. So first of all, let me set the stage with Brad Garlinghouse. He came out, right, and he's very confident about the case. He's very stern about his position in the lawsuit. That gives me confidence as an investor. He's very excited for the year 2025. The biggest thing that ever happened this year with Brad Garlinghouse is his $5 trillion prediction. He came out and he made a $5 trillion prediction. Wow. And then we thought, oh yeah, he's just bullish when whatever. The next day he came out with another interview, $5 trillion. Then the market, right? We had that correction, we had the dump, right? Remember the correction we've been in for the longest time. From Bitcoin going back down to the bull market support band, right? He came out and he reiterated $5 trillion. And then he says it might even overshoot. That might be an understatement. So what the hell does he know that we don't know? We're basically in June. We got 6 months left till the end of the year. How the heck are we going to get to $5 trillion? What does he know that we don't know? Something is weird. I mean, come on. Something is odd, don't you think? Don't you think? Don't you think it's time for XRP to explode? I mean, just look at the chart again. Look at this real quick. Just look at this. Look at this and look at this. Doesn't it look ready? I mean, we got that move. Don't you think that it's coming? I mean, people who don't, even if you don't like XRP, you want to hold it just in case. I think it's too risky not to own, honestly. So I don't know. What do you guys think? But let me go back to his tweet. I mean, this thing is primed, in my opinion. Now, it doesn't mean today or tomorrow or next week. Understand that. It just means it looks like it's getting ready to go. He says, well, this certainly aged well. Today, more than ever, we see political liability Gensler has been to the Biden administration. You can tell, right? You can tell that he's understanding who's on whose side. It's the reason we saw 71 Dems across the aisle to support Fit 21. Look at it. We're just getting... you got to look at those little things that people don't really notice, right? You got to look at the things that people don't notice. Now, remember, Brad Garlinghouse is the CEO of Ripple. So he has to play a certain level of optics. He can't come out and say, yeah, XRP is going to hit $8, $10, $20. No, that's bad optics. Right? You got to come out and be neutral. You got to come out and don't talk about XRP. Talk about Bitcoin. Talk about Ethereum, right? Pretend like XRP is not even there, right? That's how you know you have a assertive, humble leader, right? Like, for example, like, like two fighters are going to fight each other. One fighter has so much experience and he's like an incredible fighter, but he doesn't need to talk about it because he knows what he holds. He knows what he is, right? Like a samurai warrior. He doesn't need to come out and say, look at me, I'm badass, I know what I'm doing. He doesn't need to do that. He lets itself speak for itself, right? So he's being humble about it. So look at this. We're just getting started. So number one, we're at the reaccumulation phase. Number two, he says we're just getting... now, that could mean nothing. It could be nothing. But I believe over time it's going to be something, right? He knows the direction. If anybody knows, it's him. He knows the direction that this whole thing is going in. And it's going to benefit XRP like never before. So keep scrolling up. Look at this. XRP on Coinbase is available in New York. We heard you and we put it in the work. We put in the work in strong partnership with the state. And now we can put it back up. So that's great. So this is one I want you to look at. Big momentum in crypto this week. So he tweeted that thing, he tweeted another, and then he tweets this. That's different from... usually he tweets once in a while, he'll talk about something. But this is I'm hearing excitement in his voice. So and I go back and I reconcile. You got to always reconcile things that happened in the past, right? Like, think back in the last 6 weeks, because a lot of times people forget, right? They wake up, all the things flood in, new stuff floods out, or old stuff floods out, new stuff floods in. But you got to remember what happened 6 weeks ago and think about the lead up to what's happening now, and it really sets the stage. He says, big momentum in crypto this week. ETH ETF passed and bipartisan support on crypto legislation. It feels like hell has frozen over. Wow. So basically he's saying, we've been in hell. We've been in crypto hell. This has been a terrible situation for crypto, all of crypto, and things like that. Ethereum ETF is a big deal because what that does is it validates altcoins, not just Bitcoin. The Bitcoin maxis hate it, right? Which I love it. So the Bitcoin maxis want only a Bitcoin ETF. The fact that we got an Ethereum ETF is the best thing for XRP. People go, I don't care. No, that's really good because that validates altcoins. That's what that does. So if you have an ETH ETF passed, what do you think's going to happen next? XRP is, the judge ruled last July, XRP is not a security. If this video goes over an hour, you got to promise me to like the video to beat the algorithm, because people won't watch if it's over an hour. So help me out here. I think this is a really, really good video, and we're just getting started. So he says, feels like hell has frozen over, meaning the crypto space has been in hell and now it has frozen over. So basically he's saying, it's bad and now it's good. So that's got to mean something, especially when he's sitting and talking to, high level people, like different central banks, the IMF, right? The World Bank, Christine Lagarde, different people. And I don't really like her anyway, but whatever. So this is the one I really wanted to show you. After all of that I just said, he comes out after that and he tweets this picture. Laugh now, but one day XRP will power the world. Whoa. When I saw that tweet, because remember what I said, he's humble about it. He doesn't need to flex a lot. But now that he's flexing, right? What do you do when you're about to, when you're boxing or you're about to go into a fight? You start pumping your muscles. You start flexing like a cat. Like a cat, how it raises its back up. It's posturing to make itself more of a threat. Think about a rattlesnake. It rattles its rattle to make it more of a threat, right? Or a teeth, or a dog showing its teeth, right? It's posturing in a way to say, hey, don't mess with me, right? So he tweeted this out. He says, for whatever reasons, just so random, why all of a sudden, right? He must be feeling good, right? All of a sudden, he comes out and tweets, so random, for whatever reasons, I've been hanging on to this one for a while. Probably my all-time favorite from the XRP community. It's been hanging on a wall in my house, but with all of this momentum in the market, I wanted to share it. Wow. Now, you might look at that and go, who cares? That doesn't mean anything. And you're right, it might. It might not. But I'm just saying, look at the chart. Look at where we're at. Look at where Bitcoin is at. Look what just happened with the crypto bill. Look what just happened with Ethereum ETF. Look what he's getting excited, right? And if anybody knows, is Brad Garlinghouse. He's sitting down talking with the banks, right? He knows the technology that they need. He's positioning Ripple, him and the president, Monica Long. I like her, but I don't really like her too much. I mean, she's cool. I wish, I don't know. I wish she was a little stronger, but she's okay. If Brad endorses her, I'm cool with it. But, Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple is positioning it like never before. And I think this is a moment, right? And then I circle back to the $5 trillion market cap prediction. First of all, just read that one more time. So then you add this to it, right? Ripple CEO predicts crypto market will double in size to $5 trillion by the end of the year. Now, maybe it might be all Bitcoin, and the altcoins get none of the share. I don't know, but I don't think so, right? So how do we get to 5 trillion? It doesn't really make too much sense to me. How do we get there, right? There needs to be something else. We got the Bitcoin ETF, we got the Ethereum ETF, right? But it still hasn't came on yet. But I think once the Ethereum ETF will take place, BlackRock and everybody, all these institutions, they're going to start buying it up because their clients want the asset in an ETF. So they're going to start absorbing the supply, which is going to start accelerating the price. But even that is not enough. I think maybe it is, but I think it's maybe not even enough to get that 5 trillion. So what else is needed? What else is needed? Add on top of that, the Ripple lawsuit. That should be wrapping up hopefully this summer, right? It should be. We'll see. I think there's a very good chance. And then what happens after that? An XRP ETF. So you have to understand, that's why I love XRP, because it has more ammunition than any other coin. Number one, it hasn't broken above its 2018 all-time high. Number two, it's the biggest base in crypto history. Number three, it's part of a company named Ripple that is basically putting a dent in the universe for all of their connections, partnerships. I mean, they're knee deep in what the financial system needs. And then add on top of that, the lawsuit, the XRP ETF, and then the $5 trillion market cap. And then don't forget about this ammunition, right? The Ripple IPO. Now, Ripple is eventually going to go public with their IPO. So get ready to like the button Get ready to hit like because we're going to go over an hour. So, not only do we have or XRP ETF, not only do we have a stable coin, a Ripple stable coin that's going to add even more value to the XRP ledger, but we're also going to get a Ripple IPO. Basically, Ripple, the company, is going to take their company public, right? Look what Coinbase did. Coinbase exploded like 300%. I believe, I can't remember, somewhere between 200 and 300%. So what do you think Ripple's going to do, right? It's going to be unbelievable. But they need the weight off their shoulders. What is the big dark cloud that's hanging over their shoulders? What is the big thing that's weighing them down? The lawsuit. That's why they were very confident in their position. They're very confident in their stance. They're not going to settle under any circumstance without regulatory clarity. They got regulatory clarity from the judge, right? But they're still in a little bit of a mix over the institutional sales and things like that. Ripple might have to pay a fine, but the whole point is it doesn't matter if they pay or not. The whole thing is, does it end? The lawsuit needs to end. Once it ends, there's no dark cloud, right? It's the law. It's the rule. It's right now. It's the law of the land. XRP is not a security. So once the lawsuit is finished, there's no strings attached. So now, all of that utility Ripple has been building, XRP, can now be unleashed into the world at the perfect time. Why do I say the perfect time? Because go back to the first part of the video when I talked about the financial system, the war between the two financial, right? Are we going to have a central bank digital tyrannical control system? Or are we going to have a freedom, decentralized, gold-backed blockchain system? Not a Federal Reserve debt note, but a US dollar, an actual US dollar. Because remember, we don't have a dollar. We have a Fed note, right? So we need to transition away from that central banking system and transition into a decentralized crypto gold-backed system, right? It could still be digital. And remember, CBDC can be good or evil, right? So whatever the situation is going to be, Ripple is in the best position of a lifetime to facilitate the needs that are going to occur once those two systems collide, right? Because you have the traditional financial system, the Federal Reserve, right? They raise interest rates, they lower them, inflation, right? But eventually, I believe a new system is coming. I believe the Fed is going to be audited and things like that. I already said reconstructed. So once that occurs, this will be later down the road. And remember, even if this doesn't happen, this still doesn't have anything, right? This still has, nothing to do with the $5 trillion, because I think that's happening regardless. What I'm talking about is, $50 trillion, $80 trillion. I'm talking big money, right? As we go down into the future. Because again, I think Ripple is in a position like no other just before the big financial storm, right? Because if you believe the storm is upon us, I'm sure you've heard that before, right? And it's all coming down, right? Everything we've seen over the last 8 years, even going back to 2008, is all coming down to this coming point now, right? Everybody talks about a big stock market crash, a big economic disaster, inflation, 1929 style depression, right? Well, whatever. If that happens, what do you think the solution is going to be? It's not going to be their system, because their system failed us. We're going to need a new system. And what system is in a prime position? It's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a store of value. It can't be used, right? It's more so a personal, like gold. And Ethereum is too slow, and it's not really used to be made for money. So what's next? XRP, guys. I'm not saying XRP is going to be a world reserve currency or it's going to be used as a dollar. What I'm saying is it's going to be used as a neutral bridge currency for a lot of the world's money, a lot of the world's assets, right? Like just what Brad Garlinghouse tweeted out. Laugh now, but one day XRP will power the world. Why would he tweet that? I know why, right? So you have to understand. And now the price, right? The price, nobody likes XRP. It's boring. The structure is hard to see. It's going sideways. It's dead. It's dead. It's not going to do anything. Blah, 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 blah. But that's exactly what people feel before the big explosion. It's like in order to feel happy, you got to feel sad sometimes. You know what I mean? Like if you're always happy, you're never, you're going to get used to that feeling, right? Because being happy is like a drug. Being sad is a drug, right? If you're being sad a lot, it makes being happy actually pleasant. You know what I mean? So you're not always used to one thing. So everybody's complacent and struck on this idea that XRP is going nowhere. It hasn't broke out in the last 6 years, even though I've said it's creating the biggest base in crypto history, right? And not just XRP, but XLM as well. And also Theta, right? I'm trying to bridge Theta and XRP. Both communities should lock arms, in my opinion, because I think they're both two very powerful cryptos. So, at the end of the day, what do you guys think? I mean, I'm just scrolling through some news here, and you can just, look at all these headlines. Mainly talking about the crypto bill. But there's one problem, and it's this guy right here, Gary Gensler. He's got to go, right? He's got to go. The Elizabeth Warren's got to go. Maxine Waters got to go. Joe Biden's got to go. When I first started my channel, didn't say my position, but now I'm standing on I'm basically putting a stance on my position. And my position is, I think we got to vote for Trump. You might not like the guy. You might think he's, far out, and whatever your feelings are, I get it. I can sympathize. But at the end of the day, it's not about, that. It's about who is better for this country, right? And we saw what Joe Biden did. It was a disaster, right? And we can see what they're doing. And that's why I think Trump wanted Joe Biden to be in the White House, so that we can contrast the difference, right? Because everybody forgot what happened during Obama. Now we can contrast what happened with Trump, what happened with Biden. Who's pro-crypto, who's anti-crypto, who's, freedom, who's not, right? So, but that's basically what I wanted to say. Now, just to touch back on the price real quick. So I apologize that the video is so long, but I think I got a lot of information out. I think you understand my viewpoints. Hopefully you watched the whole thing. I'd really appreciate it if you did, and if you liked and subscribed and all that good stuff. But just to retouch on the price here, let's focus on what's happening. So what's happening here? Well, again, right here we have a base, right? And we're developing another base on top of that base. Now, where have we seen that before? Well, there's an example here with Bitcoin I can show back in the day, right, where we created, the price. This was later in time, but we created these bases here. You can see, right? So I would imagine XRP is somewhere in here. Just looking at it from that perspective, from the base. Now, going back to XRP, I gotta hurry up, because the longer this video is, the less likely people will click on it. And I think it's a powerhouse. So it's all my opinion, but I think it's definitely worth something, and your opinion is definitely worth something as well. All of us have a voice. All of us should use it. So what I think is happening here, there's two ideas. Well, let's just get into it. Obviously, this is a base, and this is a base, and this whole thing is one big base. So you're building a base, you break out, you're building support, right, on this part. You're building support in this range in here, which is important, right? So we came down, we wicked down with that liquidation, and now it looks like we have a big 1, and now we pulled back for 2, and now it looks like it's starting to pump up a little bit, Let's look even closer here. I mean, on the 15-minute, you know what? I've been talking all this bullish talk. It's actually got me even more bullish. I think I might pause the video and go buy a little bit more. So just real quick, I looked at Bitcoin. Look at this. If you caught my video earlier today, I said, look at, we came right up to resistance. We came up, and look at this. We actually back tested it with a powerful wick, and that's a bullish hammer candle. I don't know how relevant it is because I'm on the 1 hour chart. It's a beautiful hammer candle, right? So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, the big thing is getting through this, right? If Bitcoin can break out and challenge these retracement levels, right? Maybe flag out in here, right? I mean, it's pretty impulsive. You maybe need a pullback, get up, pull back again. I mean, we have a really good chance at breaking out. And if that happens, I think crypto is going to go crazy, especially, you know, with the recent news we just had, right? And with the upcoming news as well. So if an XRP ETF is coming, don't you think, what is the whole thing, right? What do we teach? Buy the rumor. So what's the rumor? Solana and I don't care about Solana, by the way. I think it'll do great. I think it's got great utility, but I just think I missed it. You know, it might go a lot higher, but I think I missed. You know, I'll do a Solana video one day and I'll show you the chart and I'll show you why I don't like it. Now, if I would have got in at the bottom, I'd love it. But it's so high up, it just doesn't make sense for me as an investor to buy it. I mean, maybe I'll be proven wrong, and I probably will, but it's just, you know, a risk thing. For me, I feel much more comfortable with XRP. The rumor is XRP ETF. So what do? Not financial advice, but to me, I buy that rumor. And then maybe, you know, the next 6 months, it gets priced in, right? It gets priced in, and then all of a sudden, come, you know, January or maybe in April of next year, or maybe even sooner, I don't know, they come out and say, look, we got the XRP ETF approved, boom. But guess what? The price already exploded because it was being priced in ahead of time, just like how Bitcoin was going up before that ETF actually came out. It went up a lot higher afterwards, right? But, you know, we'll see. So going back to XRP here. So, you know, let's just focus on what's happening on the smaller time frame. So, I've often said that this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a 5-wave diagonal. That's a diagonal, right? And then we have an A, right? We have a complex B wave, right? Because that's a 3-wave shape, a B wave. And then we came down in wave C. So we have a 1, 2, ladies and gentlemen. We have a 1, 2, ladies and gentlemen. And look at this. And at the bottom, we also have a 1, 2. So is this thing about ready to rip and go completely crazy? Could be. We are definitely in that position of it could be. I'm not lying, right? I'm not saying that because I'm overly bullish, even though I am. We can, you know, that's one count, right? Actually, what I would think happen would be if we popped up here, we would probably flag out a little bit before doing that. So it would allow you another opportunity if it did that. But you know, XRP, it could just go insane, right? Okay, so let's keep going forward. Okay, so that's one idea. We have this diagonal and then an ABC, let's go. The other idea is to say that this is some type of triangle. I don't like it. A, B, C, D, and E. And then we go, which is fine, right? We have a triangle in here. I don't really like it a lot, but we've finished up wave E, 1, 2, 3, and now we're ready to go. And by the way, when I zoom out, this whole thing, I forgot to mention, man, there's just not enough time to express all the information I want to share with you guys here. A, B, C, D, and E. Look at that. We have the triangle completed. And what this is it's a contracting triangle, right? Same thing here, A, B, C, D, and E. And then it led to the big blast off. The same thing that's happening here. And inside wave E, we're developing a triangle in itself, right? Because I'll show you everything here. Each wave needs 3 waves. We got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we have 1, 2, 3, and now we need 1, 2, 3. So we got 1, 2, and 3. We have a 3-wave move in wave E, and wave E is a triangle in itself, and we're in wave E of the smaller triangle. That is insane. Plus, we have Brad Garlinghouse at 589. Maybe I'm a conspiracy guy, right? It's okay to be a little conspiratorial and you know, just having fun. I wouldn't put my weight on it, but it's just kind of funny. It's interesting, is it not? Like all of this is happening at the perfect time. Timing is everything when it comes to charts. People say, I don't need charts because, I know what I hold and it's going to go up. I don't need charts. Well, yeah, I don't need charts either. I believe that's the case. But to get in the market, I want to look at a good entry. I want to see how the price is developing. I want to be trading, right? But I mostly want to be hodling. So that's one idea, the triangle. A, B, C, D, E, go. Okay, so those are 2 bullish ideas. The bearish idea is to say that this is an A, B, C. So we have 3, 3, and 5. That's an A, B, C, right? And we have a 1, 2, and we have another 1, 2, and now we have another 1 and a 2, and we're about to just dump down, I would believe, down here. About that 35, 37 cent area, right? I would say between 33 and 40 cents, right? So basically you take this whole wave and it'd probably be somewhere right here. And that would be the case. And now another way you can count that is that this is still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that this is an A, this is a B, and instead of 3, we're getting 5 waves. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we come down for 5. So this is an A, right? And this is an A, B, C. And in wave C, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you go to the moon. And if that happens, everybody would be freaking out. A lot of people are bullish right now still. So maybe we get a big liquidation event and it kills everybody. And everybody's depressed and sad, and because we crashed down, and people would definitely give up hope, right? Because think about it, XRP's been 50 cents forever. So imagine after all that time it's been trading at 50 cents. Then we come all the way down to 37 cents. That would really disrupt people's feelings. But that would actually be the golden opportunity to go explosively long. Why? Because this is exactly what happened last time, and I've talked about this. So you can see, here's your zone here, right? Here's your base. You're bouncing, and then bam, you come all the way down, you grab the liquidity, and then you take it higher, right? So if we fast forward what's happening today, and I translate that, then this is what we have here. Look, it's the same thing. Here's your zone right here, right? So maybe it already occurred. Right here. So you see this, see the wick? Maybe that was the liquidity grab. Or maybe the liquidity grab is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. We finish out this. Guys, I'm very, very bullish. I just don't know if we have one more wave down. That's the tough part. If we get through this retracement, I will say no, we don't. If we get above the bull market support band, I'd probably say no as well. Very tough call. Because, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we would grab that liquidity just like the last time, just like what I just showed, and then explode to the move. And this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. And in wave C, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, and then we blast off for wave 3. It'd be the biggest blast off, I think, ever. So that's how I am looking at XRP. So that's what's happening here. Now let's zoom in even further, and we'll try to wrap this video up sooner rather than later. So what's happening here is actually quite interesting. Either this is, like I said, some type of wave 4, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going down for 5. I just don't really like it a lot because it's so big. It's so big. Look at this trend line. To me, it looks like an ascending triangle. That's bullish case number 1. If we break this trend line, then yeah, I can see it, right? But if we don't break this low, then it'd actually be some kind of rounded out move where we take you back up. But we'll talk about that at a later day. But from what I can see, either this is very, very bullish here for, or it could be a triangle. So an A, B, C, D, and E, and now we're going down, right? For that final wave, like I just talked about. Or this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we're about to explode, guys. We're about to explode. So maybe that's what we have here, right? So let's zoom in a little bit closer. So we have this zone up here, right? And then we have, that's our supply line, and our supply line is horizontal, right? Not down sloping, it's horizontal. Our trend line is rising, which is good. So what we have here is a diagonal, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this could be an A, B, and a C, right? And now let me zoom in even closer, right? And I would have to zoom in to the smaller time frame. That could be an ABC. And what we have here, I don't think this is it, by the way, is a 1, 2. And this is another 1, 2, and we're pulling back, right? A, B, C, we pull back, and then we go higher. So, we finish that out, right? A, B, C, and then we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we continue climbing to the upside, right? Because what we're doing is, if this is a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is a 5-wave move, and we're correcting it. We're correcting it with an ABC, right? And we had a 618 retrace, plenty, right? I think it was even further than that. So we had plenty of a retracement. So now what we want to see, right, the big goal for XRP is to hold above, I don't want that, is to hold above this zone here. So essentially, staying above 50, preferably 51 cents. Right now we're at 53 cents. So we're still good. So, this can turn into a bigger ABC. So we have A, we come up 1, 2, 3 for wave B, we can still get another C leg, something like that. So an A, B, C, something bigger. And if that's the case, it's okay, right? I wouldn't like it a lot. I would like to hold that zone, but as long as we don't break that low, right? The diagonal is still in play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a big A, B, C. We come down here, finish out the correction around 49 cents, get everybody bearish again, and then bam, take it way high, right? And when I zoom out, this is what it could look like. So I'm kind of at a crossroads between those two ideas. And that would kind of make sense because we would have another touch point on the trend line here. So as long as this trend line holds, right, and there's your horizontal line, you're coiling up for an ascending triangle, let's get the breakout. So maybe this comes down one more, hits the low before it breaks out. We'll see what happens. I hope you guys enjoyed that update. I'd really appreciate a like, subscribe, and try to share the video. Because I don't do videos like this often where, I try to bring a lot of high energy, talking fast, straight to the point after point after point. But, I'm in one of those moods where I can expend all of that and get it out pretty well. So those are the ideas. I hope this is finished, right? A, B, C. But if this is a fourth wave, then don't fear, because we have one more wave before the breakout, and that would finish up wave C. But it all comes down to what happens here. That's why I'm saying this is a very important time for crypto, right? And then just to touch on Bitcoin just for real quick, in case you didn't catch that first video, I'm basically, we got the back test of this zone. That was the most important thing. We broke this zone and we back tested it. That's exactly what we wanted. So as long as we hold above, 62, 61K area, I'd say we're doing pretty good. I mean, preferably hold above that 64K area, but we'll see how that plays. Definitely don't want to break below 60 or 61. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And for the count, it's an A, B, C, 1, 2. And now we're kind of flagging out here before the big move up. The other idea is that this is a rise, crash, retrace. We're going reaccumulation. We go sideways, then we break out, which would be completely fine. And the ultimate bearish idea would be this is an A, B, C, and we still have one more low before the big breakout. So again, it all depends what happens in this area. This is why I'm saying between point A and point B, when you're right in the middle of the retracement levels, right when all this good news is coming out, right? Just be very cautious. But ultimately, think back to why you hold crypto in the first place. Think about the central banks. Think about hodling for the future. So my main message is don't get discouraged if the price dumps on you and you look at your portfolio and you say, wow, I'm an idiot. No, you're not an idiot. You're smart because you know what you're doing and you know exactly the games that they play and you're playing your own, right? Bet against the debt, become your own central bank, right? Even though we could get dumps. That's why we dollar cost average. That's why we do things appropriately. So, we're right at this moment where things can get really good or really bad. But if it does get bad, it's actually going to be very short-lived, in my opinion. I think, we are getting into the summer months, so maybe we will get a dump. But at the end of the day, I can't ignore that $5 trillion prediction. I can't ignore the Ethereum ETF. I cannot ignore the crypto bill that passed the House. It needs to pass the Senate. But at the end of the day, if it passes the Senate and the president signs it, it's going to get priced in ahead of time, right? And then add on top of that the XRP ETF. Add on top of that the lawsuit that's wrapping up soon. Add on top of that a Ripple IPO. Add on top of that more regulation. Add on top of that a pro-crypto president coming in next year, right? January will be his inauguration, hopefully, right? Some people say there won't even be an election because they're going to try to distract and make it not so, right? I mean, they don't even want to debate, right? They don't even want Joe Biden debating because they know he can't do it, right? The guy just needs to retire. In my opinion, I think they might switch Joe Biden out at the last minute. I think they might do that. So maybe Michelle Obama, maybe somebody, more likable, somebody like that, right? They'll switch Joe Biden out for some savior president because they know they can't win with Joe Biden. So they might do the old switcheroo right at the very end. Don't count it out. It sounds insane, but at the end of the day, nothing sounds insane when you look at what happened over the last 5 to 10 years. So we'll see, guys. We'll see. By the way, this is an Ethereum Classic fractal that I shared, back when it was $20. I think it's above 33 now. Basically comparing it to Dogecoin. I'm still really, really liking the way it looks. So it might be a powerful thing. This was the last video I made, basically looking at the total 3 being maybe a Wyckoff structure. I'm not too sure about it, but I really like the way it looks. So we'll see if that plays. Basically, you could see here, this is the Wyckoff example, and I color coded it so that we can see it. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's definitely an exciting time to be alive. I like this quote, by the way. If you want to pause the video and read it, go ahead. I think it's an interesting quote for sure. And then here's a quote as well. Always understand this. It's really true. And we just got to be patient. We got to be very patient. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff I wanted to show, like the EMA ribbon and things like that. It's still pretty bullish. The MACD. Also, when you look at the quarterly chart, the 3-month chart, I mean, you can say we technically broke it. But, I mean, if you put it body to body, it's not so good. But, I mean, we're close. We're really close. Alright guys, that'll do it for this video. Please like the video, subscribe. If you want to support the channel, you can go ahead and do so. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.